visited Iceland. We're in
Reykjavik. Welcome to Iceland. Have you been naughty? Good morning from Iceland on day 4 of what's turning out to be an epic trip. Today marks the beginning of a 2-day overnight trip to Iceland's south coast. We have got so many adventures lined up. We'll be visiting 2 of Iceland's most famous waterfalls at Blacksand Beach, its southernmost village, and also a glacier lagoon that has played a role in various Hollywood movies such as A View to Kill, Die Another Day, and Lara Croft Tomb Raider. So we're super excited. It's another early morning, especially after our Northern Lights tour finished at 1 AM last night, but we have packed our small day case, which is all that's allowed for this small tour. Time for a quick stop in Folklore. Did I say that right? Folklore. Coffee time. Here we are in the Blacksand Beach, regularly voted as one of the world's most beautiful non-tropical beaches, and it's not hard to see why. It sits near the town of Vik, which is the southernmost village in Iceland. I can't believe this. I don't know if you can see, but it's snowing. Absolutely amazing. So beautiful. I've never been to the beach in the snow, and it's completely black sand, very fine. This beach is a bit of a geological marvel. It sits at the base of this huge cliff here, which has some basalt rocks that are formed into a bit of a stepwise pyramid type shape. If you're from Ireland, it looks a little bit like the Giant's Causeway nestled at the base of this cliff. And there are just some huge rocks protruding from the ocean, which you can see behind me here. Lots of people around, everyone trying to get as close as possible to the water. However, it's very important to note if you're coming here not to get too close to the water, because they have sneaker waves that come up really close to the shore, completely unannounced, really high ones, so they can just sweep you out to the ocean. And it's obviously the Atlantic Ocean, so it's extremely cold. I can see some of these waves already, and they are massive. The other amazing thing about this beach is that if you're a bird lover, you can come and watch puffins nest. So they are only out in winter time apparently. We have been unfortunately unable to see them, but if you do want to find puffins, they nest around rock faces. Wow, I'm looking at these waves. So you can come here to check some of them out, as well as other birds like Arctic terns. As amazing as this place is, you just have to be so careful of these waves. They're just coming up so close with only a second or 2 notice. So if you're taking a photo, it's quick enough to cover your feet in water.
chariot awaits.
Thank you. Backseat Rio Bandits.
Rio.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We're just stopping in the town of Vik, and it is snowing. It's got a population of 300 inhabitants here, of which 80% are foreigners. So there's only 20% local people who live here, but it's so charming and so quaint. It's very close to the 2 very famous waterfalls, Skogafoss and Seljalandsfoss. We've just spent the last few hours driving, and we're now at the Snaefellsnes, which is the Svínafellsnes Glacier, and you can see it just behind me. It's just gorgeous, cascading down between 2 huge mountain peaks. The next up on our trip is the Jokulsarlon Glacier lake, and this is one of the famous lakes where icebergs split off of the glacier and float down the lake. Sometimes you'll find seals on top of them. Some of these icebergs are up to 2 stories high, and apparently the crack as they break off from the glacier can be heard from a mile away. Iceberg! Straight ahead! Oh, that's enough corny for me. Now, if ever there was a site for a movie, this is it. And it has played home to various blockbuster movies like A Time to Die, A View to Kill, and Lara Croft Tomb Raider, all set in these stunning slopes behind us. We're transferring to our Jeep that's going to take us on our ice cave tour. Here it is, this big beast. Our crampons are on. I haven't slipped over just yet, and we are on our way to a cave underneath a glacier. This is the trip that just keeps on giving. I'm so excited and so dreadfully cold already. I don't know if you can see, inside my gloves I've got hand warmers, and these are little packets that create a chemical reaction with your hand and oxygen, so that when you hold them, it makes you warm. You won't believe it, but my fingertips are still cold even though I've got these hand warmers on. That is how cold I am. The scenery is absolutely stunning. I'm at the back of my group. To get to this point where you've all travelled in a modified vehicle with huge tyres, which was a 10 to 15 minute ride to the car park, and now we have a hike down to the cave. Oh my gosh, I can't feel my nose. Can you still feel your fingers? No? And the sun is casting such a lovely light across the mountains, snow-capped peaks.
Mainly want to be looking up, okay? Not right now, that's just the sky.
There are groups of around 10 to 15, and we will go in individually, and hopefully it will come out. Trapped within the ice. Incredible. And it's so slippery. It's about a 30-metre walk so far, and not too claustrophobic. I think you can see it's about a metre wide in some spots. So I think most people can do it. You can also look up and see the sky. It's amazing. It's a really curly, snake-like ice structure. Taking an ice selfie through the door. Hello! Let me out!
So if you guys want, you can give the glacier a big hug.
Going in for a photo there, girls?
Yeah. You know I'm not fake.
Hello! Almost at an end now. That was simply unreal. So many cute little photograph opportunities. And this ice, you can see straight through it. You can see little pieces of ice that are formed in the ice. Emerging from the ice cave. That was such an unreal experience. I'd highly recommend this if you have a chance to do it. All of those black lines that you can see running through the ice is actually volcanic ash, trapped forever in ice. Maybe not forever, I'm getting a little bit carried away, but trapped for a very long period of time in ice.
like it.
Good morning on day 2 of our overnight expedition to the south coast of Iceland, and we've been greeted by this beautiful sunrise. We're grabbing a quick breakfast and then we're hitting the road back to Reykjavik past some iconic sites. There's always more to see in Iceland. Our guide has the Icelandic music ready to roll of Monsters and Men, Asgeir, some amazing artists that have come out of Iceland. So we'll have that blaring on the sound system as we're driving back to Reykjavik. First stop this morning and we are back in Jokulsarlon, which is a gorgeous glacier area where we're hoping to see some seals. It's super windy this morning and this is the place where you can see icebergs just floating down the lake. It's so surreal. Some of them are powder white, some of them electric blue, and others are veined with a grey volcanic ash. At the top of the lookout. I have to almost take my hat off as a present to the seals. We only saw one today, just briefly bobbing up and down in the water. But on a good day you can see huge groups of them. We've made a short stop in Hof at one of the oldest churches in Iceland. Iceland has become so popular that unfortunately there's not enough accommodation for everyone. And so a lot of people have been actually sleeping in these old churches that you'll find dotted around Iceland. And unfortunately that means they're now closed to a lot of tourists such as us, but we're still able to walk around them and appreciate them. This one is absolutely stunning with the grass growing over its roof and the grass hills and mounds around it. The sun has made a welcome appearance at our next stop here at this huge canyon, and we've got our crampons on because it's very slippery. This is a beautiful, huge canyon which the Fjaðrárgljúfur River flows through, otherwise known as the Feather River, which I'm here going to reference it as because my Icelandic is quite tragic. Is this not the most beautiful canyon you've seen? It's simply stunning. The river beneath is completely frozen. If I could offer one piece of advice to anyone coming to Iceland, is to buy some crampons for your shoes, because we've come to so many extremely slippery, icy places that are incredibly difficult to walk on, but they're made of breeze with the crampons. So definitely able to pick them up in Reykjavik if you're flying into Reykjavik. I would highly recommend doing so. It saved me on more than one occasion. Climbing up to the top of this gorgeous Feather River Canyon, and you can see so much greenery up here as well. There's a river flowing beneath us. Most of the edges is completely frozen. We've been so lucky with our weather here today in winter in Iceland. The sun is out and it's casting just some beautiful shadows on the white snow across the peaks and down into the river. We're stopping at the gorgeous little town of Vik for lunch. This is located right next to a glacier. So there are some people who've actually been evacuated from this town because of the fact that the glacier lies on a volcano. And if the volcano erupts, the danger is not that they will have lava streaming down the hill to the town, but of massive floods. Our tour guide was telling us that she's actually been evacuated from here a few years ago while on a tour. For us though, we will just be having a very calm and peaceful lunch. Arrived at the next beautiful destination on our itinerary, Skogafoss Waterfall, and I can already feel the spray from the 60-meter high waterfall. It's 25 meters across and it's absolutely glorious. This place is beautiful. It feels like it's raining, but it's actually just the sheer force of the waterfall, and you can even see these rainbows popping up here and there as the light changes direction from the sun. The gorgeous waterfall at Skogafoss has featured in quite a few TV series and feature movies. It was the place where Daenerys Targaryen famously kissed Jon Snow in Game of Thrones Season 8, as well as featuring in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty and one of the Thor movies. This place was also where Justin Bieber filmed his clip for I'll Show You. Legend has it that the first Viking in this area hid a chest of treasure behind the waterfall in a cave. And many years later the locals found it, but when they tried to pull it out from behind the cave in the waterfall, the ring on the side of the chest that they were pulling on dislodged, and that was all they could find, and then the treasure chest disappeared again. They then gave the ring to the local church, and to this day The treasure chest has not been found, but the ring from the door of the church can be found in the Skogafoss Museum, only a few hundred meters away. I have absolutely no idea how the locals managed to get behind that waterfall to find the treasure chest. It's booming. We finally hit our last stop on this 2-day South Coast tour, and it's the Seljalandsfoss Waterfall, which is iconic for its cave behind the waterfall that you can climb into. So for this reason it's completely saturated the social media platforms, and probably with good reason. Past a huge muddy pit walkway. It's going to be interesting cleaning our shoes after this. Wow, the water is quite deep actually, so I don't think we'll be able to make it in. I have got waterproof shoes on, but I'm going to show you what I'm looking at right now. Some people behind me are bracing themselves to walk through that cavern. It's quite deep water, so I'm not sure we'll be able to make it, but this is the right spot if you want to come in and have a look behind Seljalandsfoss Waterfall. What can I say? I'm a sucker for adventure! Woo! Amazing! Not hard to tell the people who've been in the cave. What a cracking way to finish off our 2-day South Coast expedition in Iceland. Now back to Reykjavik and one more chance to see the Northern Lights this evening. Our last full day in Iceland, and we are off to the Snaefellsnes Peninsula, which is sometimes known as Iceland in miniature because it holds so many of the geological structures in just a small peninsula. It's also the famous location of the iconic novel Journey to the Centre of the Earth. Our pickup point today is by the beautiful Hallgrímskirkja. On our Snaefellsnes Peninsula tour today is the Ytri Tunga golden sand beach. Unlike many of the Icelandic beaches which are dark sand or black sand, this one is gold sand, and it's one of the best places to come for seal watching. Seals actually hunted still in Iceland as well as whales, and they're used for multiple things. They're used for their meat. Obviously the fat can provide oil, and they have a hide which is waterproof, so that's often used as well. So here we are, we can't see any just yet. Not always lucky, but we'll have a look out for them. Seal meat is actually very good for you apparently, with only 2% fat and very rich in omega-3 fatty acids. So that is why they have in the past used them as a source of food. We've just found the vertebral skeleton of a whale just washed up on the beach here. Whales are still hunted in Iceland and they have a license until 2024, after which time that would be reviewed. It's something that's deep within the culture. Our tour guide was telling us that even as a child she was brought down to see the whale farming, which sounds terrible to be talking about, but they talk about it as just part of nature, part of their lifestyle and living. There's very few animals that live in the wild here, so for them it's a food source. You can actually still buy whale on the menu here in some restaurants in Iceland. So it's quite interesting. My first gut reaction to that was obviously, no, protect the whales, but yeah, after listening to her talk about it, I mean, keeping respect for the Icelandic traditions and cultures, it's something that has been part of their history, and it was really interesting to hear about it from her point of view. Here we are with Budakirkja, just behind me, the Black Church of Budir, which is a windswept and barren, very gorgeous little hamlet here in Iceland. This is a very popular church for weddings, as I'm sure you can imagine. There is a hotel nearby which is ranked as one of the most romantic hotels in Iceland. It's currently closed though, and they're renovating it to make it bigger and larger to cope with the amount of tourism here in Iceland. There are 2.8 million tourists expected in Iceland this year, so many places are refurbishing, increasing in size to cope with the sheer number of people flocking to this beautiful country. Arnarstapi is the name of this beautiful place. This is another fishing village, and I've got my crampons on the bottom of my shoes for a slippery, icy walk. This beach is famous for its circular stone arch that has eroded with 3 rifts that create beautiful photos for avid photographers. Arnarstapi was once a booming trading site. It's now used largely for local fishermen who dock their boats here and by the Arctic sea terns, which have a huge colony here. They are somewhat aggressive and have been known to attack a human or two, so beware of any big birds circling around your head. This area in Iceland is absolutely stunning. We're driving past lava fields that are over 4,000 years old. The lava fields have created just these huge geological structures that are so mesmerising to watch, even though we're stuck in a bus. It's just stunning scenery. We are currently traversing the coastal pathway which winds around the beach here in Arnarstapi, past all of these huge geological formations, and I can already see a lot of these Arctic sea terns. I'm a little bit scared of birds, I'm not gonna lie, they terrify me. Oh my gosh, and I can see so many of them. They're all nested actually in the rocks here, looking very placid and serene, so I think I'm safe for now. But it's also very cold, so I'm sure they're trying to conserve energy, just as I am. As I mentioned, I'm always running behind in the group, so I'm just running to catch up with them. Whew. It is fresh and I can't feel my fingers. Each of the volcanic rifts that have been created here have different names. So we've just been to Gatlinburg, which is behind me now. So if you do come to this coastal route to check out this geological masterpiece, then you have the choice of a few different pathways depending on which one you'd like to see. It's a choose your own adventure. This beautiful area that we are in on this peninsula here is all at the base of Snaefellsjökull, which is half glacier and half volcano. So the truly remarkable thing about it is that the snow-capped peak is a glacier and the dormant volcano lies beneath it. It's actually a huge source of mysticism, and there are a lot of stories, legends and folklore that involve Snaefellsjökull, including the idea or concept that there is a half human and half troll called Bardur, who lives in the mountain, in the volcano, and guards it, or is it its keeper. There is a special monument that lies on the peninsula walk that we've just been to commemorate Bardur. The locals here believe in a lot of legends such as elves and trolls and people who live in the mountains. And one of the frequently told stories or folklores here is that the lava formations that you'll see as you're passing on the road are actually petrified trolls. So trolls will turn to stone if they don't reach home before sunrise. So they're allowed to walk around in the evening time. They do live in the mountains and they go down to the beach to catch their fish for their food, but they're only allowed out at night time. And if they're around during the day, if they don't get home before sunrise, they will turn into stone. So keep a watch out for the elves and for the trolls, because you never know what you might find here. Our next stop is at the quirky Djúpalónssandur Beach, which is another fishing village. There are 4 stones at the base, which vary in weight, and they are used to test the fisherman's strength, the young boys who want to become fishermen. there are 4 stones. The first one is called weakling, the second one is called useless, the third one is called half strength, and the final one is called full strength. So when boys in this fishing village wanted to be a fisherman, they were tested according to these stones as to how strong they were. If you could lift the full one, you were a definite fisherman. Unfortunately, my lens cap has had another adventure, hence the name of my channel. There we go, no more lens cap. Kirkjufell. This is the most photographed mountain in Iceland. It was also made famous on Game of Thrones. This is where Bran met the Knight Rider in Series 6 if you're a fan, and it was one of the landmarks beyond the wall. So here we are. It's actually called Kirkjufell because it's shaped like a church, or kind of like a church, and there is a nice waterfall nearby with some great views across to Kirkjufell, so we're going to take a walk there now. Time to head back to Reykjavik. Good morning from our last windy morning in Iceland. We are on our way now back to the airport. But I've had the chance to see inside the church at the top of the hill overlooking Reykjavik, and even to see the organ in action. Last night was a little bit disappointing. We didn't actually get to see the northern lights. It was too cloudy, there was too much moon and light pollution, but very fortunately we managed to see it 2 out of the 6 nights. Just as a word for those visiting, you will really need to budget 3 to 4 nights to see the northern lights, because we had 2 or 3 cancellations in the mix as well. But it's so worthwhile trying. Even if you're unlucky, you just have to take the chances when you can. We had a lovely evening out also at the Icelandic bar. We tried the puffin, which was like a bit like an oily chicken, and also the whale steak, which is very rich in iron and extremely delicious. But that's it from us now. We're off to the airport, and thanks for joining me on this trip through Iceland. Where have you just been?
Into Iceland.
Where are you going now?
For the northern lights.
Where are you at the moment?
Where are they?
Well, you're in the airport.